Hey there, Scoobies. We've finally made it to the Season 1 finale, Prophecy Girl. Pre-warning, this is a big one. All the events of the season have culminated in this moment, and here lies the blueprint for all future seasons. We kick off the episode with Xander practicing how he's going to ask Buffy out on Willow. Whedon has said that the first season of the show is them essentially putting themselves through film school, and I think much of that was then put on display in this episode, kind of like a final exam. This is exemplified here, where the camera is hiding who he's speaking to and then revealing it's Willow as a gotcha moment.
Would you, date me?
Poor Willow.
Why is it so hard? I should just walk up to her and say, hey, I like you, let's go to the dance together.
Now he's getting it. This brings me on to one of my two favourite scenes from this episode. We get possibly the most cinematic moment of the series to date. The camera here is steady and seemingly focused on some grass with a car in the background. The slow motion shot of Buffy coming into frame and then looking up at the vampire gives us a real sense of stakes. The show has often used sound effects for the vampire growl, but here it's dialed up. As the vampire leers at his prey like a lion, with Buffy looking back with an almost concerned look on her face. This mimics the opening of the pilot episode and epitomises the entire premise of what was set up. The supposedly helpless blonde girl trope in a B-movie horror film turns around and then kicks the monster's ass.
3 in 1 night. Giles would be so proud.
This line starts the change in their relationship as Buffy is starting to think of him more of a father figure. The transition to Giles from this line, looking through the codex and other books, parallels Buffy as he is beginning to worry about her like he would a daughter. There's an earthquake heralding the Master's rise.
Glory! Glory!
What do you think? 5.1?
And the next day, we see a dishevelled Giles as Buffy gives a nod to his lack of care for her well-being.
Look, I broke a nail, okay? I'm wearing a press-on. The least you could do is exhibit some casual interest. You could go,
Knowing that his lack of sleep is solely because he does care. Giles being the metaphorical mind is also foreshadowing Buffy's later reaction to the same information. Time for Xander to shoot his shot.
Hey, leave.
A part of Xander's problem is actually exhibited here. Although slightly rude, he is confident and commanding, which can be attractive qualities. Unfortunately, these are not qualities he has demonstrated up until this point. He feels a certain way, and so does the right thing, by asking.
Buffy, I want you to go to the dance with me, you and me, on a date.
Personally, I'm not sure it is the right thing for him and the situation. Buffy and Angel have clearly exhibited feelings for each other, and Xander is very aware of their attraction. This shows a lack of overall awareness to where he fits into Buffy's overall worldview. I've had a little flack before about referencing the friend zone or its existence, but this is what it is. In Buffy's mind, he's her friend, like Willow is.
Well, Willow's not looking to date you. Or if she is, she's playing it pretty close to the chest.
She doesn't think or feel this way because she placed him in the friend zone. He's there because he placed himself in it. What he gets a lot of flack for is how he handles the rejection.
I guess the guy's gotta be undead to make time with you.
That's really harsh.
But setting aside that he's a teenage boy and probably doesn't have years of rejection to fall back on, the other key thing is that he waited too long. To my earlier point, he put himself here and did so by not having the courage, upon meeting Buffy, to make himself known as a potential suitor. Is it any wonder that she doesn't see him that way? Their relationship is now established.
Look, I'm sorry. I don't handle rejection well.
On his reaction, the reason it's so harsh is because he's not being rejected by a girl at a bar or somebody he doesn't know. His love for Buffy has been established through their friendship and getting to know her. He's reacting to being rejected by someone he truly cares for. None of that excuses it, but that's not the point of this. As Buffy's heart, Xander's character is by nature a little more selfish. He reacts on feeling rather than logic, which is more Giles' domain. The point of this little exercise comes later. Back in the library, Jenny calls in on Giles with some information on the Anointed One. Cordy asks for Willow's help in a Cordy way.
If you could just show up tomorrow morning, I'd be really, really grateful. I mean, I'd talk to you at the dance and everything.
And Willow spies Xander moping.
How'd it go?
On a scale of 1 to 10, it sucked.
Though not the deepest character growth, Willow has been on a little journey of self-confidence this season.
Okay, so how do we save it?
Deliver.
Xander.
Now I know. Remember me, your girlfriend?
But one area that she's lacked self-esteem is when it comes to Xander.
When he is around, it's like the lights dim everywhere else. You know how it's like that with some guys?
Oh, yeah.
That's why this is so pivotal for her.
Be my date. We'll have a great time. We'll dance. We'll go wild. What do you say?
No.
Good.
I get a real feeling just a couple of episodes ago, maybe even at the start of this episode, that Willow would have jumped at going, at Xander finally seeing her, but...
You think I want to go to the dance with you and watch you wish you were at the dance with her?
What Willow displays here is a genuine sense of assertive communication.
I didn't think.
I'm sorry it didn't work out for you.
She creates a boundary and explains her position utilising empathy and without putting Xander down.
Just gonna go home, lie down, and listen to country music.
This is also healthier than his previous explosion of emotion. After a night of patrol, Buffy finds blood pouring out the taps. She decides to inform Giles when she overhears him and Angel.
I wish to God I were, but it's very plain. Tomorrow night, Buffy will face the Master, and she will die.
Okay, people, let's take a deep breath before we launch into this one. I somewhat feel a little sorry for David in this scene, as Sarah is about to show off her soap opera skills.
Buffy,
Did say how he's gonna kill me? Do you think it'll hurt? Don't touch me!
The way this scene builds is fantastic. Learning that you're going to die is a form of grief, and it's all on display from this point until the third act.
I quit. I resign. I'm fired. You can find someone else to stop the Master from taking over.
the signs indicate...
Signs? Read me the signs! Tell me my fortune!
Oh, watching this is so gut-wrenching.
Giles, I'm 16 years old. I don't want to die.
Buffy has so much responsibility that we forget how young she really is. At home, Joyce notices her daughter is in a funk.
Mom, let's go away.
What?
Anywhere, just for a while, a weekend.
Honey.
No, it'll be great. You and me, a mother-daughter thing. We can talk about all the embarrassing things you love to bring up.
You know the gallery's open on weekends.
Mom, please.
Cordelia is complaining to Willow about being flaked on.
He totally flaked on me, and I don't even care.
This is an interesting insight and one that will come up more than once. In my video on The Harvest, I referenced the interesting nature of Cordy's allure to the, quote, bad boy. You often hear the complaint, why can't I find a nice guy? But as we can see, it doesn't do it for her. Hell, Cordy's so into bad boys, she is literally turned on to one without a soul. As shown here, she realises that not showing up is considered rude and openly admits that somehow it's a turn-on for her.
They are. They're watching cartoons. That's so cute. That's not cute.
See how she has to fight the urge? It's also a rare moment of genuine honesty that she's sharing with Willow, and the first step on her personal journey. The bloody handprint is a nice touch, highlighting the horror they're about to walk into. In my Willow character breakdown, I talk about how, as Buffy's spirit, her story arc and personal journey is tied to Buffy's overall mental state and well-being.
I thought I could take anything. But Buffy, this was different.
Buffy has just found out that she's destined to die. This could take a bit of a beating on your soul.
I'm not okay.
I've not been a huge fan of Alison Hannigan's acting for a lot of season 1.
That girl's on fire! Call me old-fashioned. I don't want any more surprises in my hot dogs. This French is responsible for... Xander's supposed to be helping her right now. He's got a crush on a giant insect. No. See, Xander is... I like his head. It's where you find his eyes and his hair and...
I'm afraid it's very big.
Thank you. Wait, what are you talking about? Remember me, your girlfriend?
Her line deliveries can be clunky, and I don't think she has great comedic timing here. But here, the performance is on point. It's like everyone brought their A game.
What are we gonna do?
Well, we have to.
Giles has looped Jenny into Buffy being the Slayer.
She's so little.
And is preparing to face the Master himself. Giles references the annoying one.
The calf, the lion, and the fatling together, and the little child to lead them.
It's kind of warm and fuzzy for a message of doom.
Well, that depends where he's leading them to. Aurelius wrote of the Anointed One. The
The Slayer will not know him, and he will lead her into hell.
This has always been a bit of a contentious element as they figure out who he is. Giles and Jenny figure out that the vampire she killed in Never Kill a Boy on a First Date was not the Anointed One, and that it may be a kid.
So I'm looking for a kid, huh?
This small bit of dialogue proves, like with most prophecies, they aren't set in stone or won't play out as expected. There are a couple of layers at work here. We already know that Giles feels that it's his duty to go in Buffy's stead. He has a fatherly concern, but also, it's within the masculine energy to have an internal need to protect her.
Buffy, I'm not going to send you out there to die. You were right. I've waited about in these old books for so long, I've forgotten what the real world is like.
Finally, Giles as the Watcher has always played the underlying part of the patriarchy.
I'm older and wiser than you, and just do what you're told for once.
Within this context, he is the barrier for Buffy to overcome. But equally, for Buffy to face her demons and to take the next step on her journey to adulthood, she needs to push past the overbearing parent.
Think of something cool. Tell him I said it.
The Scooby Gang come together and play their parts out wonderfully as the heart is passionate.
Colin may work for Locutus of the Borg here, but I'm freaked out and I intend to stay that way.
The mind wants to remain calm and the
We stay calm, first thing.
Spirit knew something was off.
I told you there was something going on with her.
Xander also references Locutus of the Borg, an interesting reference to Star Trek when Jean-Luc Picard, the captain of the Enterprise, was taken into the hive mind of the Borg collective.
I am Locutus of Borg. Resistance is futile.
And here we arrive at Xander's mini-arc.
I don't like you.
Xander has been jealous of Angel from the moment they met. Add to that, he represents something Xander truly hates. Let's not forget that one of his best friends was killed by a vampire. But his love for Buffy pushes through all that. This is of key importance as we later see. Buffy finally makes it to the Master's lair, following that yellow brick road. The Master starts to monologue and Buffy, shoots first.
Nice shot.
The Master, after playing like a cat with a mouse, tells Buffy the tricky thing about prophecies.
If you hadn't come, I couldn't go.
He bites Buffy and leaves her for dead. But that's the funny thing about prophecies.
There's a shot. CPR.
Generally speaking, people think it's the CPR that was the important element to bringing Buffy back. But the reality is, the prophecy was broken not by her or the Master or Angel, but by Xander. It's his love for Buffy that drove him past logic and reasoning to go there. She was saved by her heart, her courage. And that's why this scene was so important. It wasn't about a boy asking a girl out and being rejected. It was about her having the courage to push past the challenge. Cordy proves why she should never have passed driver's ed, and they hole up in the library, right over the Hellmouth. Buffy goes to face the Master, and we get to see the Hellmouth, or Beast. Either way, less is more, guys. The Master attempts to control Buffy like before, but no longer works. She throws him from the roof and saves the day. The use of the theme music as a piano piece works well here to close out the season and to bookend it. Much like the rest of the season, this episode is a little uneven. The big finish is a little disappointing compared to other elements, but the things it does well, it does really well. There's an emotional payoff to the characters, and I feel that each one grew a little from it.
Sure. We save the world. I say we party.